Hi, Dank. I know it's been a while since I last streamed, basically a month. I'm sorry. Last week I wanted to stream, but the VTuber program that I've been using started acting up, so I had to find an alternative. And for the alternative, well, I managed to make it work, but my model doesn't blink for some reason. I've tried to look at all the settings, but I couldn't find a way to make the model blink. So that's gonna be, yeah. Until I find a way to fix it, it's gonna be like that. I hope it doesn't look too bad. Because the previous program I was using basically made my model jitter out for some reason. From what I'm seeing, this program has a better face tracking, I think. But yeah, I'm resorting for that for now. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can understand the program better. But yeah. Anyways, back to Password. It's been a while. But yeah, well, we're back. Okay, I'm pretty sure we were here. Okay, so, but what about Benson? We can't do anything while he's unconscious, but if we have to offer someone up, and it can't be me. The statement hung in the air, and I could see the varying levels of discomfort it felt. I'm going to check on him. Did anyone want to come with? I went back to where I'd left him and noticed Sal and Haas following behind. When we got to the room, Benson was right there where we left him, with the addition of someone else. Thanatos? What are you doing? Checking on the other. What are you you three doing? The same. Did you really cut a deal with Dom to hand over Benson? So what if I did? And you're planning on something else for Roswell? Now, Dave, I didn't think you'd go telling them so soon. I don't know what we should be doing now. I got you 2 days. Do whatever you like. May I ask a question? Sure. What is your expected endgame? With Benson out of the picture in your plan, what happens to us? For you to escape, obviously. May I ask why? You think I want you lot dead? You did try killing Tyson, and I've seen a path where he literally kills everyone else except for Dave because he doesn't fucking care about anyone else but Dave for some reason. That's different. How exactly is that different? You're doing it again with Benson, aren't you? Not exactly the same thing, is it? You were driving Tyson mad over a couple days and been doing the same to Benson for almost a week now? That doesn't sound like someone that wants us alive, that's for sure. Things change. What things? You expecting some long-witted monologue about what I'm up to and how that furthers whatever plan it is I have going on? That would be lovely, actually. Laid it on us. I wasn't being serious. Maybe you should be. Did you want us to trust you or not? Like that matters to me. Well, it's hard to really know how much of this is all something that you've been through before and you're just going through the motions again. But if we just stop playing, then what? What do you mean? Dave, you're not suggesting we should just stop doing anything and await our demise, do you? He couldn't possibly be serious. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. But if we just stop doing anything, then Thanatos is forced to act instead, right? I don't think that's a smart idea. Neither. But Thanatos hasn't stopped staring at you since you suggested it, Dave. You're seriously not thinking about it, Haas. I looked back to Thanatos and he was just staring at as Haas said. What? That's the game you're willing to play? You're not giving us much in the way of options. Threatening Benson, hinting at something bad for Roswell. Now 2 days to do something before who knows what happens next. I assume Thanatos knows what happens next. Well, do you? Maybe. That's a yes. Oi, you don't know what I do and don't know. For all you know, I'm going through this the first time myself. Except when you said that we needed to, and that's how it needed to be. And also explained that people could have died. Fine, you got me. I know how this is going to go down. And? Last time it didn't go great, so I'm in the middle of tweaking things up here and there. May I ask how? Oh, brother, if you must know, I was planning on drugging Benson. What? How could you what could that possibly accomplish? The less Benson is able to go commit a murder, the better. So you're going to keep him unconscious for longer? We're not going to have another thing with someone else sleepwalking, are we? Oh yeah, right, true, yeah. No, Benson doesn't sleepwalk, even with mismatched medications for his species. Oh, well, that's good, I suppose. What happens if you don't give him the sedation? Then he shoots the person that shows up in a couple days in an attempt to buy more time. I'm guessing it doesn't go well. Well, I wouldn't be doing it if it did now, would I? To be honest, I don't know why you do half of the things you do. Have you tried talking to Benson about being trigger happy rather than just jabbing him with some sedatives? Thanatos turned to me, looking thoughtful. Tell you what, why don't I let you decide, Dave? Me? Well, I obviously don't want anyone injected with anything. That sounds awful. It didn't just sound awful. With my hand going to my neck, I knew all too well what it was like firsthand. Fine, no sedation this time, but you'll lead the talk with him when he comes to. Which is in how long? He's going to be out for the rest of the day. Well, I guess it's fine to let him sleep. He clearly needs it. What should we do about a bed, though? He'll be fine here. You can decide what to do with him once he wakes up. I don't feel right just leaving him there. Then take him somewhere. Either way, I have to chat with Dave. Haas, do you mind giving me a hand moving Benson? No, but is it fine if we're just going to leave Dave with the rat? It's fine, I'm used to it. Not exactly what we were getting at, but we'll check in later. We left the side room as Saul carefully carried Benson out. The two of them headed upstairs, presumably to find a bed, while Thanatos guided me towards the basement. Another password, huh? I had an idea as to why he'd bring me downstairs. and it became clear the further he led me forward. The basement was cold, and we stopped in the middle of the room with the lights off. So, I've been thinking a bit about something you said this morning about the thing you remembered. I thought you said it was a dream. That's the thing, isn't it? It has to be. So, let me ask you a question. You've been feeling alright after I put you under last time? Last time? When exactly was the last time? He went to reply but stopped short, thinking about it. Maybe it didn't happen this time around. The thing in the lab is what I was talking about. Wait. That? If it's what I think it is, then this is referring to an event that happens while Oswin is still alive. He's referring to Pat A. If it helps, I feel fine as far as I can be. No headaches or seeing things that aren't there? Not that I know of. And you're sure? Thanatos climbed down from my shoulder and wandered over to his room, and I followed behind. Why are we in here? I want to check something. I watched as he wandered over to the input panel, looking up to it. His attention went to the door next. The whole time he stayed quiet. What are you checking? I've been left wondering how different dreams and memories are from one another once again. Once again? We've had this conversation before, but let me catch you back up. When I look through my memories, it's like seeing everything on a single line. A lot of big gaps from where I'm offline. Okay, are the gaps always the same or? No, always start the same, but things have been wildly different after I've made it known. I remember my master. I remember watching him die. I remember what he asked of me and when he gave me my name. I remember how I was back then compared to how I am now. He turned to face me, shaking his head. But there are gaps, noticeable gaps where there shouldn't be. But there are other times where the pattern breaks and I awaken somewhere else long after the vacation has ended. Interesting. I don't think I get it. When the pattern breaks, how do I know I'm not looking at a memory, but instead a dream? Do you sleep? You're a robot, so I'd assume you need to recharge at some point. It's not the same as sleeping, but it may as well be. And so, I'm forced to once again consider what these things are. Are they dreams or memories? Well, if they are memories, they'd be traumatic, right? That's what you said this morning. Oi, I'm serious. So am I. Does the same rule apply to you or not? Of course they don't. I'm the Vault itself, not someone coded into it. I gestured at him, confused. So how do you not know if something's a dream? You seem to know, to just know everything, so why is this tripping you up? Besides, if we've already had this conversation before, why are you wasting my time with it now? It's not a waste. I'm legitimately confused. You're a robot, whose memories seems to show signs of tempering, not this time, but in previous loops. That has been a very interesting conversation. Well, don't look at me. I don't know how that could happen. There's one thing that it could be, but the only one that would know is my master. And that is, if he asked me to delete parts of my memory for him. And you'd just do that. Of course. From the looks of things, he's only wanted small sections removed, but I don't know why. Then ask him. It's not that easy. Talking with him lately has been difficult. With you lot all around, finding the time to slip away and have a bit of a chat is hard. I'm guessing because you don't want us following. Pretty much. I sighed. My head was hurting, but not from anything he'd done to me. I was just stressed from things earlier and confused about what he was getting at. That's what I told myself anyway. Which leads us back to this check I want to do, bleh. Which is, get comfortable. Oh god. I couldn't get the words out of my mouth before a sound assaulted my ears, a high enough pitch that I felt myself black out. I felt myself lose consciousness long before I hit the floor, and internally I wondered how hard I'd land on the floor. It was strange being conscious while being unconscious, or being able to actively think things while surrounded by an endless void. When I came to, I was in the woods. Everything was hurting, but I picked myself up and started walking. No one was around, just me and my heavy breathing. It was dark, cold, and I had a feeling something was very wrong. It took me longer than it should have to realize I was bleeding. Blood was seeping from a wound on my body. A blood-covered hand came up to sit in front of my face, a grim smile forming soon after. Something told me I knew everything about what had just happened, why I was injured, but I couldn't open my mouth to ask. Stumbling into the makeshift campsite, I collapsed again, listening out into the dark. My blood ran cold when I heard the sing-song voice of someone I hoped I didn't have to face. Is it Jack again? Right, of course. Dave, where did you go? Soon after was his maniac cackling, echoing through the trees. I know you're out there. As much as my injuries would allow, I scrambled forward to move on from the river. Something was pushing me towards the house. Orlando? I coughed, blood splattering against the trees I was leaning against when I turned my head. Far off into the distance, I could make out lights. It had to be the mansion. Further off into the distance, I could hear Jack laughing. He seemed to be moving away from me rather than pursuing me, and I sighed, though doing so sent a jolt of pain up through my chest. I continued. My pace slowed, my vision blurred. I could see someone approaching me in the dark, but it was hard to make out who exactly it was. Maybe I'd given up, or maybe I'd known already, but with how deep the smell of blood was in my nose, I couldn't tell. There you are! My eyes dipped down to the gun in his hand. Dean? I coughed again. He stepped closer. Then everything went black again. When I next opened my eyes, I was laying on my bed. My face hurt. I could smell blood on my face, but I seemed to have control over my body this time. I groaned and sat up, rubbing my face. All that seemed to do, though, was smear the blood. I could feel deeper into my fur. Orlando wandered into the room soon just then, humming to himself and stopping short the moment our eyes made contact. You're awake! I never seen him move so fast. all while precariously balancing a bowl of something towards me, still on the bed. He set the bowl aside, cupping my head in his hands as he looked me over. You had me worried. I was fine. Treasure, you were unconscious on the floor in front of the vault. In what world is that fine? How did you find me? The rat. He came looking. For you? 14, actually. But I quizzed him on where you disappeared to, and he seemed to settle. I'm surprised that you didn't try putting him outside again. I had different priorities, namely making sure you were alright. I was fine, mostly. Dave, you've been unconscious the better part of the day. I was worried, legitimately worried something had happened after Dom had left. It was just Thanatos being, well, him. Well, you missed dinner. Here. He retrieved the bowl he'd set aside and offered it to me. Scrambled eggs. Looked like there was a cheese in it too. For me. Don't go telling the others. He looked me over, playing with his hands. You could also use a shower. I would have cleaned you while you slept, but, well, that's the weird thing to do. Is it bad? Given how I found you, I wouldn't surprise me if you hit your head or landed on your nose. Are you sore? I don't think so. I'm mostly dazed, maybe? Are you sure that's all? Well, in 2 days we're going to have to go through this again, potentially. And when that happens, who knows? And that if it's not some lie too, if they show up tomorrow, that's the worst case scenario. We're living in the worst case scenario, Orlando. We don't have a way off the mountain. Not all of us, anyway. He nodded slowly, scratching his neck. I guess you're right. I watched as he thought it over. Already, I could see him weighing up the options and the potential solution to his problem. This problem. Don't go do anything dangerous. Not without talking it out to the rest of us. I won't. But we just don't have good options at all, do we? Shaking my head, I started to eat the eggs Orlando had made for me. Slow at first, but the pace picking up quickly until there was nothing left. Well, at least you still have your appetite. He took the bowl from me and shook his head, giving me a fond smile. You'd feel better after a shower. Go on, I'll be here when you get back. Sure enough, I got into the shower and started to scrub my fur, hearing him leave the room and come back fairly quickly. When I got out and stepped back into the room, it was warm. Orlando reclined back on the bed in just his underwear and with the lights off. But just as before, his body was softly glowing as if he were my personal nightlight. Crawling in next to him, I found myself swaddled in his warmth, and soon after drifting off to his quiet whispering of how much he loved me. The day played through my mind, not solid enough to form a dream about it, but the events still rang true. Dream, Dom, the talk. Benson collapsing, and Thanatos' plans to do something. If Sal and Haas hadn't showed up, who knows what would have happened. But 2 days, that's all we had until the next event was going to happen. Was it a lot of time or just a little? The idea kept bouncing in my head between the two, the more I thought about it. As I opened my eyes, I took a long moment to adjust. Carefully, I looked at the ceiling and flexed each of my fingers in turn, making sure that I wasn't asleep. I felt silly. That's my God. It's what it came to. But I breathed it out, knowing I was properly awake. Orlando seemed to be fast asleep, although I could see the wrinkles in his face as he slept. Even in his dreams, he was worried. He was worried, and I couldn't blame him. His dad was out for us. We'd had a close encounter with two of his lackeys so far, and on top of that, he was dealing with keeping me in mind too. I wondered if there was anything I could do for him with everything going on. A lot of it felt out of my control, but for the sake of my boyfriend, that didn't sit right with me. As I got dressed, he mumbled in his sleep, trembling. Not that it lasted long. He rolled over soon after and seemed to get comfortable with his new position. I got dressed and headed downstairs, thinking maybe I could get breakfast going as one less thing for him to worry about. When I got there, I spotted Dean outside by the back door with a mug of coffee, and my focus immediately shifted into getting some for myself. The moment I stepped into the kitchen, I made for the coffee pot and got myself sorted. Rationing out a little of the milk from the refrigerator and took my coffee a little darker than usual. Not that it mattered when the bitter flavor hit my tongue. The warmth and the jolt of endorphins that came with my favorite drink gave me the jump I needed to properly wake up. Though not bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, I could feel myself start to take a stock a bit easier. Dom would be back tomorrow, and if what Thanatos said was right, we'd be trading Benson off for a safety, or as a way off the mountain. It didn't really sit at all that well with me, but it wasn't as if I had a say in it. Going to the pantry, I was reminded of our food situation. Best not to touch anything in case Orlando already had plans for every little bit in there. Plans to make breakfast went out of the window. The faint tapping of his foot on the counter clued me into him being there before I turned around, but there he was all the same. What are you doing? Thinking. About? Stuff and things. Stuff. Stop that. What else am I supposed to do? Making yourself useful seems like a good start. And how am I meant to be doing that exactly? Dom is coming tomorrow, right? If we play nice and then get off the we get off the mountain, right? You'd think that you had listened to what I said yesterday. He's variable. I still don't really know what you mean by that. Things went alright yesterday. He listened to you. We just have to wait. You really think it's going to be that simple? I hope it will be. What about Jack then? What about him? You think he's just going to let all of you walk off the mountain? Think Memphis will do the same? Yes. Well, that's why I said it's variable. Sometimes they don't. Even after Dom made his deal? Who do you think you're playing with, Junior? Really? It's not like I've had to make deals or talk to the mafia before. I don't know how this works. I'm just scared. I want to go home. I want to keep my friends safe. then think about how you're going to do that. Can't you just tell me what's not worked already? Not doing anything that doesn't work. There's a clue. I growled, stepping closer to him, but he took a couple steps back as if expecting me to do something. I hate how you make me feel, by the way. Like I don't have a say in anything. Like I don't have any control. None of this bad stuff would be happening if you weren't around. You really think so? I know so. If you weren't a thing, then Memphis wouldn't be trying to get you. People wouldn't have to be dying to test how this thing works. Who knows what else? Take that back. You don't know anything, Dave. I know enough. I was assaulted by sound that made me buckle, but not pass out. You know nothing. You can't even comprehend how many times I've had to watch all of you die. How many times I've been left alone for countless years until I wake up the next time around to do it all again. I looked up at him, standing at the edge of the counter. The same conversations, the same questions, and all for what? I'll tell you what it wasn't for, Dave. It wasn't to spend eternity solving a problem that has no answer. I don't know. So when I ask you about Jack, what are you going to do? What is going on in here? Orlando? Oi, talk some sense into Dave. Thanatos, what the hell did you do to him? I was pulled from the ground and dusted off, Orlando adjusting the coffee cup in my hand before huffing at the rat on the counter. Nothing that wasn't necessary. I find that hard to believe. He wants me to think about what I'm doing about Jack. What? Did I hear that correctly? I turned to look at Roswell, who seemed out of it, stumbling into the room slightly. You look terrible. Rude. I feel terrible, but what was it about Jack? Is he here? Not yet. At the rate we're going, it's unlikely. That's good, right? Roswell, sit down. You look like you're about to collapse. I'll be fine. If he's not sitting down in the next minute, he's going to be on the floor and chip one of his tusks. You're bluffing. Wait and find out then. But what about the Jack thing? Are we in danger? Orlando caught Roswell as he started to wobble. The minute wasn't close to being up, but I looked across to Thanatos. We should talk, shouldn't we? Are you willing to listen? I still don't trust you, Thanatos. Well, good thing we pivoted away from you being able to help anyone a long time back. Sal, Haas, and Dean are outside. Tyson will be down shortly and join them. I'll be taking Dave for a bit. What about me and Orlando? Rest or whatever. Dave will fill you in later. For what I think was the first time, Thanatos led the way out of the kitchen towards the front door, not climbing up onto my shoulder, but walking along the floor ahead of me. I opened the door for him and he stepped out first, with me closing the door behind us soon after. My hand was shaking and I sipped at my coffee, looking out at the trees trying to spot anything Thanatos seemed to be looking for. I owe you an apology. Am I going to get one? What do you think? Probably not. Well, at least you've got that right. Level with me. Do you hate me? All of us? That's complicated. That's not an answer. Why does it matter how I answer? What you think of me, and what I think of you lot doesn't matter, all things considered. Outside of you needing us to help you anyway. Naturally. But we're so close. So painfully close. To the end. I sat down on the steps leading up to the front door next to Thanatos and continued to drink my coffee. You're talking about an escape. It goes well then? It can, but that's yet to be seen. Things still need to happen. I'm just going to assume you're either going to tell me specifically what I need to do, or tell me literally nothing and I'm just meant to figure it out. If you haven't gathered already, you need to have a plan for Jack. How can you even plan around him? He's fast, has a knife. More than one, actually. Unless you can science me up some magical knife-proof armor, I don't think I have what it takes to deal with that. I've been trying to find a reliable solution myself. Keeping Dominic alive has worked so far. Because he can keep his work buddy in check? Don't underestimate how much that bear wants an easy job. You're not going to outbid Memphis. But if you can make his life easier, while still getting Memphis what he wants, Dom will make sure it happens. But what if Dom isn't around? Then we have a problem. So we need a contingency plan? Unless you're keen on getting us stabbed. I drank deep from my coffee, trying to think about it. Could we set a trap? Would a weapon be useful? Escaping? Looking down into my empty cup, I wondered where I could draw some inspiration from. Well, I don't want anyone to get stabbed. One of you is going to need to be stabbed though. Maybe a little. What? Need? Who? Why? Doesn't matter who, but if someone's going to take the fall, they're assume Ross will get in the way like he normally does. And if I don't want Roswell stabbed, you offering to take his place? I didn't like the idea of getting stabbed, but I didn't like the idea of the others getting hurt more. Careful, Junior. Show any more courage, and I'll think you're developing a hero complex. It's not that. I just want my friends to be safe. Yeah, I know. Heard that enough times that it's basically imprinted by now. Not as if telling you to give up and letting them die is going to be much different. What did you say? What? Were you the reason I was thinking those things? I don't know what you're talking about. The thing, telling me to give up, to let my friends die. If only. I reached out to grab him and he just hopped backwards out of reach. Careful, Dave. You know something, don't you? I knew what had happened the moment everything went black. God damn it. Somewhere in the back of my mind, I swore at Thanatos' ability to just knock me out whenever he wanted. At least I was getting used to the sensation and knew what was happening. God dang. When I opened my eyes, I was restrained somewhere dark, off in the corner against some sort of rusted pipe. I could smell blood, my face was dripping, my head ringing. Reckon the boss made the right call? Tom, buddy, Paul, friend. You can just say yes. Look, I don't know. I don't care. I just want to know when we can get some action. I'm so bored. You can always go say hello to your friend if he's conscious. I could hear the glee in Jack's voice as he made a sound somewhere between a mix of a gasp and a squeal. Whatever it was, though, it made me sick to my stomach. Jack, could you not? I have a headache. Spoil sport. Not like I have Memphis to mess with. I strained to look from where I was, but not only I was not in control, their voices echoed from far enough away that I got that they were deeper into the mill. Things started to fade away when I heard footsteps getting closer. I couldn't tell whose, but from where they started, it couldn't have been either Dom or Jack. When I opened my eyes next, I was greeted with the sun and a small throbbing headache. Ow. I was flat on my back, staring upwards with Thanatos just off to the side. He looked over my way once I made a sound and got closer. What happened? I'll take credit for that. I could feel myself start to get angry, but something stopped me. Something seemed off, familiar. You made me pass out again. Why? Thanatos gave me a look, eyes narrowing before he responded. For fun. Wow, what kind of person even does that? Well, I'm hardly a person. What? What was that? Looking over at Thanatos, he seemed confused about something, and I thought I knew what. What kind of person even does that? Well, I'm hardly a person, right? Me finishing his sentence gave him pause. Was he suspicious? Was it just all a big coincidence? On a more serious note, 2 questions for you. I don't know what I'm going to do about Jack. Eh? There isn't many options for us, is there? What are you playing at? Huh? You know what you're doing. What? What was the second thing you wanted to ask, I mean? It's about what you saw in the little dream I gave you just now. You mean memory? Semantics. Nah. I didn't reply, trying to understand how this conversation was going. It was like my dream, except I knew how it was going to go. This time, anyway. Details, Dave. What? It's basically what happened yesterday, except... What is going on? I'm just gonna say, just in case, but... What? Thanatos clapped in my direction to wake me up. I was maybe zoning out a little too much, being roused from my thoughts to look at him. The hell is wrong with you? What? You know what? I probably need therapy. Yeah, among other things. From your perspective, have we had this conversation before? Sort of? Well, you tell me what happens next then. How about a test? I ask you a question, you give me the answer. Let's see if I can pass. And if I get it right, then we'll know you've been through all of this before, and I'll treat you to something nice. And then the question is... Yep, that's the same thing. It was... Yeah, no, he said, like... in the place where... the place Oswin does his work best. Where is the Leo medal? My throat felt dry in the place where Oswin does his best work. Fuck off. That's the first time I've heard Thanatos swear. Do I pass? We must have had this conversation before. Not exactly? Then how did you know? Last night, the dream I had. You said you didn't cause it, but... Well, to be honest, Thanatos is the god of death. I learned that from Persona because Thanatos is a persona. Anyways, Thanatos scratches his chin, thinking it over. You're right, I didn't. Which means... You're remembering. I don't know how still, but you're remembering. Have I remembered before? Sometimes. It's inconsistent. Huh. I scratched my head, unsure of what I was meant to do with that information. What did you see when I put you under just now? The inside of the watermill. At least I'm pretty sure it was there from what I remember from when I was there last. Anything else? Dominic and Jack were there, talking about something. I was bleeding, maybe. Tied up to something in the corner, though. Interesting. Interesting good or bad? Just interesting. Something to think about. Because? You're not giving me a lot to go off of. Just because it's interesting to me doesn't mean it's going to be interesting to you. Fine, keep your secrets. Besides, you probably want to know where the Leo Meadow is. The lab. Well, yeah, the place where Oswin does his best work, so the lab? No. Oh. What do you mean, no? That isn't where he does his best work. Then where? Let's go for a walk. Thanatos climbed up my shoulder and guided me back inside. From there, it was towards the stairs leading up. Over there. Aha. I followed his outstretched arm to a bookcase and tilted my head. You want me to grab a book? It's a secret passage. 2, actually. And the meadow is going to be inside? In a sense. How can a single meadow be inside 2 books? Is it broken, or...? I took a step back, looking over the bookcase. This is like the one that leads to the library from the conservatory, right? Isn't it? Well done. The 2 you want are those. He pointed to 2 books, neither of which looked out of place, but that seemed to be the point. Much like the other bookcase, I heard the click. Now just push that aside and we can go in. Oh. A new room. Interesting. Inside it seems like fairly ordinary as rooms went. Nothing seemed off in any case. Just a small desk with the walls lined with books and what shelves were available. Has this been here the whole time? I sat Thanatos down on the desk and looked around. Sure has. Normally Oswin uses it. Couple others have found it already too. Who? Roswell and Haas both have. Not that they did anything with the information after seeing the room was empty. Interesting. I'm taking notes. There. Okay, there we go. Okay. Huh. Time's ticking. You're looking for a book. Another secret passage? Not this time. Oswin's sister hid this one away too. Alright, then what's the book? The Three Little Okay. Oh, I know that one. Not this version. Oh, how is that one different? You want me to tell you a story or do you want the medal? Both? Find the book and I'll give you the abridged version. Any clues or should I just start searching? Get looking, I'll wait. I started at one end and started slowly scanning the books with my fingers, running over the spines, making sure I didn't miss by accident. I took it slow. While I look, can I ask you something? What? What were you planning on doing after you drugged Benson? Going to find something else to do. No, I mean, were you just going to leave us to deal with that? All you'd know is that he'd fallen unconscious, and likely a short coma. The original plan was to hand him over unconscious to state Dominic's want for as little complications as possible. An easy job. Right. Then when the time would come, we'd renegotiate the deal. That's where Roswell comes in. What were you going to have Roswell do? Follow Dominic, obviously. Someone's going to need to find out where the way off the mountain is, and Benson is a much bigger prize. They're not going to notice Roswell tailing them if he can keep a low profile. And in the worst case scenario, he's fated to die soon anyway, yeah. The most efficient use of the pieces we have. But, Dave, that's the book you're looking for. Looking back at where my hand was, I hooked my finger into the top of the spine and pulled it carefully from its spot on the shelf. So it's in here, huh? Well, no point in waiting. Open it up and get the medal. Okay, I'm going. I did so and found a section of it hollowed out. The pages hadn't been glued together, but the bulk of the book, or maybe its age, kept the thing together. This is a bulky children's story. Nothing about that story is for children, Dave. Carefully setting the book down, I picked up the medal. Leo. But that wasn't all in the book. A lone photograph left underneath it. What's this? Oh. Take it in, Dave. Who do you think these three are? Well, probably the one in the middle is definitely Florentia, and the other two is probably Oswin and his brother. Yeah, well, it's obvious Oswin and his siblings, right? That's right. But why is this here? You'd have to ask Florentia, which is a bit hard at the moment. Yeah, it's just so strange. Go on. That Oswin was a kid once, like us. That the people here were just once kids. And? Did they go through anything like this? If they did, could that be why it's happening to us? I breathed it out, shaking my head. But now Oswin is dead, and I'm wondering if that probably doesn't matter. I put the photo back in the book and placed it back on the shelf, pocketing the medal. What are you planning on doing with that? I don't know. Show the others for starters, and then leave it with the rest. And while I'm at it, think about what I'm going to do about Jack. Good. But I don't know what you could possibly expect me to do. Have I done anything notable in the past, or? Don't know. Whatever happens, it happens out in the woods. way outside my maximum range. And no one tells you afterwards. Let's just say other things gets in the way. Alright, well, I'm just going to accept that and figure it out. Maybe I'll ask the others. There you go. But before I go, what happens in this version of the story? Right. So, the story is the same for the most part. 3 pigs, 3 houses, you get the gist. Then what's different? There's no wolf. Then how does the story function? Isn't the big bad wolf kind of important to how the story goes? The first little pig leaves home, gets sick, and dies, poisoned by the influence of the outside world and ultimately done in by a rabbit that offered them a piece of chocolate. Clearly not the Easter Bunny then. The second goes somewhere far away and is presumed dead. This one was also offered chocolate, but instead turned into a rabbit. But that's as good as dead from the author's eyes. I took a moment to look for an author's name on the spine, but nothing stood out. And the third survived? No. Wait, really? Yes. And that's it. He just survived? They survived, yes. Though the rabbit didn't. Cooked alive in the house after trying to burn it down. That's really not a children's story. I told you that already. No need to have a sweeping epic... What? Epic for children when there aren't any pictures either. Except that book did have a picture. You know what I meant! I think what bothers me is there wasn't a really lesson to learn, was there? Just that be wary of rabbits because they're going to poison you or turn you into one of them, or I guess try and burn down your house. Outside of being wary of rabbits specifically, there was no lesson. Racist! Pretty much. Regis liked to have books on hand, apparently. Regis Hammond? Right, meaning that be Oswin's father. Aha! Something to note. Regis Hammond. There, come on, notes. Interesting. A name drop. Huh, alright. Before I forget, probably best you head downstairs now before you miss it. I'll catch up. Something important? You'll find out when you get there. I left Thanatos in the study and headed back downstairs with the Leo medal in my hand. Just what else are we meant to do? I froze on the spot and decided to listen in, wondering what was happening. Is there anything we can do? I'm not a doctor, but he doesn't look good. I inched forward and sucked my head around the corner, wondering what they were talking about. Well, we can't leave him like that, can we? Sal looked over my way, catching my eye, but didn't say anything, instead turning to Dean. I agree. We can't leave Roswell like that. Dean gave him a funny look, and I took that as my cue to enter the conversation. Did I hear something about Roswell? What happened? Roswell isn't feeling too great. That's an understatement. Yeah, seemed alright for a little bit, but then took a turn for the worse. And we aren't doing anything to help? Is there anything we can do? None of us are doctors. What about Benson? We can't ask him? I feel like this is where having Oswin alive would be beneficial because Oswin is a doctor and he would be able to help Roswell. But since in this timeline he's dead, He can't help us. He's still unconscious, alive, but we can't wake him. Orlando's with him at the moment, so it's not as if he's been left by himself. Who? Benson or Roswell? Sorry, Orlando is with Roswell. We left Tyson with Benson. Oh, okay. So what do we do? That's what I want to know. Dean, we don't know. Look, I'm going to go find out how Tyson is doing. Maybe Dave has some ideas on what's best for Roswell. I turned to Sal, scratching my head. I know how long has Roswell been out of it? I didn't think I was gone for that long. We came inside for coffee and almost knocked him over. Said something about needing to find you and almost collapsed into Dean. Then after we grabbed Orlando, we were about to come find you. Whoops. What? Okay, find you. Well, I'm here now. We continued into the dining room to find Orlando rubbing Roswell's back as he sat in the chair. I'm okay. I'll be okay. Roswell, what happened? Is there anything we can do, or? He turned to face me briefly, but it was as the others had said. He looked out of breath, eyes dilated. Part of me wondered if he even knew I was there. I just... Hey, don't talk. You're just going to wear yourself out. Roswell had started to nod quickly before he passed out, and then and there on the table. Hey, Roswell! Sal rushed forward and checked Roswell over, his temperature, his pulse. He's breathing, but he doesn't look comfortable. He looks like he's in pain. Well, do something then. We can't leave him like this. I stepped back out into the foyer, and I immediately called out, Thanatos! No need to yell. I'm already here. He was sitting on the stairs, patiently, clearly knowing I was going to come yelling. What's happening with Roswell? What do you think? What do we do? Nothing? Not as if there's anything to do about it. But what about tomorrow? What about your plan that you had in mind for him? Everything's going as it should. Don't you worry. You knew this was going to happen and didn't say anything? What would you have done if I told you? Not as if you could cure him. But Thanatos! Sheesh! You go crying my name out like that and I'm going to put you under again. He stood up and made a show of dusting his hands off, before gesturing me closer. Or maybe we should go downstairs, so you can give putting the password a try. There's a password? There might be. He doesn't have the normal tells, but he's almost certainly lying. Who would you rather believe, Dave? Is that even a question? Haas, absolutely for sure. I believe Haas. Real nice, Junior. Ty made a move to kick Thanatos off the stairs, but was effortlessly sidestepped. Listen, you want some help or not? Help for Roswell, or help for what exactly? Dave, think about what he's offering you. I'm thinking. I've been thinking too. What about? Say they come for us tomorrow, right? Why don't we just fucking bail? Big dog, we've talked about that not being an option. Nah, I get the road thing. I just mean not being in the fucking house. I don't get it. You mean we just be outside? Hide in the woods or whatever. Yeah, wait until they get bored and just come back when they leave. Yeah, go ahead and try that. That tone almost sounds like it's not gonna work. You tell me, what do you think? I scratch my chin, thinking it over. If we hide nearby so we know when it's safe to come back, you've probably seen it, which means you know how well that goes even if we don't come back. I'll save you the effort and say that they know the woods better than you do. There's less of them, and Dean and Dominic are both equivalent. Sounds like we're screwed. Unless the exchange tomorrow goes well, right? With Benson out of commission and now Roswell unconscious. Speaking of, Benson's still sleeping. Seems fine otherwise. Assuming you haven't gone and drugged him while we weren't looking. Me? Do something like that? It does sound like something you'd do, though. Well, I didn't. He's legitimately catching up on his sleep. So we can just see what Benson thinks when he wakes up, right? Not as if there's any other options. Without medicine for Roswell, we're getting closer to being desperate, though. When we hit that point, what are we meant to do? That's when you turn to me for help. Meaning what? You know exactly what that means. Well, I don't know shit. It's not that hard to track, Tyson. Now, we don't need to be so hasty there. Who knows what the morning will bring? But it's not even lunchtime. Hardly the point he's making, Dave. Well, whatever the point is, I have no idea what we're meant to be doing now. Do us a favor and take care of Dave for a bit. Time for me to have a chat with Haas and Orlando. About what? We'll get to that when you've taken me to Orlando. I'm not giving you a lift. Haas was already walking back towards the dining room, ignoring Thanato's gesture to be let up. Not this time either, huh? You'd probably mess up his mane or whatever. In any case, you two do some talking. I'll check in later. He ran after Haas, disappearing into the other room. Alright, I think I'm just gonna be leaving this here for today. I'm getting sore, so yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed, and see you guys next time. Take care.